Next, to round up the latest news and the day's sports results from ITN.
For autumn savings on all kinds of furniture, drop into Courts now. We're offering discounts of up to 30%.
Lovely.
Courts it is.
I was at Chippendale for 7 years, exclusively in The People Tomorrow. I'll tell you about all the women, all the sex, and all the drug use. And why I finally turned my back on being a male sex object. Only in The People Tomorrow, the People paper.
Uncle, what's it that makes telly tea so...
Satisfying, lad. Teas are chosen from around the world, and every sip is blended to a tea. We've a reputation for selecting the best teas to make the perfect Tetley blend. One day, you'll know all the secrets, including how we make 2,000 perforations.
I think I already know.
Cluck. 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 Cluck! Cock-a-doodle-doo! Nothing starts the day like Kellogg's Corn Flakes cock-a-doodle-doo. I've been driving, traveling, heat up the miles and clock up the points on my premier car. And I've a family, the family. I like to bring them gifts every time that I'm getting hard. And I am only 24 toasters from Scunthorpe. Only 6 double beds from Torquay. And I can't decide if I will choose a diamond ring or a drill. And if I want to, I'll add to my premier points with cash if I haven't driven enough. And I am only 24 toasters from Scunthorpe. Only 6 double beds from Torquay.
Now the secret hidden within your hair is revealed. With Henara's natural ingredients: horse chestnut, chamomile flowers, glossy natural henna. Together they enhance the color and shine. Henara shampoos and conditioners are waiting to release the light and life hidden in your hair.
The ambassador's receptions are noted in society for their host's exquisite taste that captivates his guests.
Ferrero Rocher.
Delicious.
Excellent.
Monsieur, with this Rocher already spoiling us.
Ferrero Rocher, a sign of good taste.
When I was younger, I thought being thin would be the answer to all my problems. But then the diet took over my life.
If you're looking for some advice about an eating problem, call for a helpful guide on 071 284 5040.
It's not Baywatch, but it's just as much fun. Blind Date, Saturday at 7:05. This is Jackie.
What a lucky woman!
She's been Ednard.
Oh, that's me!
At 8:50, The Bill.
Oh, and you heard about the murder case, didn't you?
I think it's self-defense.
Starring Harrison Ford.
I am an American and I am great.
Frantic. This weekend's ITV Saturday movie. You're watching London Weekend Television. It's 4:40.
Hello, welcome to ITN's News and Sports Results programme.
Later on, we'll have the full classified football results.
Today's main news. Moscow riot police opened fire on anti-Yeltsin demonstrators.
And the day's top sports story, battered to defeat by Lennox Lewis, will Frank Bruno now retire?
Riot police and troops in Moscow have opened fire during pitched battles with hardline anti-Yeltsin demonstrators. A number of people have been injured. The violence began when hundreds of anti-Yeltsin protesters attacked security forces who have surrounded the Parliament building. The violence is the most serious escalation so far in the standoff between the two sides.
There were balloons and country and western music in Old Arbat Street. A peaceful demonstration by the opposition across the road. Then suddenly the worst violence since Boris Yeltsin suspended Parliament almost 2 weeks ago. Enraged by the sight of demonstrators tearing up a stage built for local anniversary celebrations, police tried to break them up, but were then forced to retreat, automatic pistols pointed. A few yards away, demonstrators frantically pumped the chest of a man who had suffered a heart attack. Nearby, concussed policemen tried to recover their senses. As if they had been waiting for this moment, the demonstrators then occupied a section of the Moscow Ring Road and built barricades and lit fires, all of it within sight of the White House, still under siege by Boris Yeltsin's police. As protesters banged iron bars against the barricades and police clubbed their shields, one squad tried to dislodge the demonstrators, but were pinned down by a hail of stones. As they gave up and pulled back, the crowd howled in triumph. A water cannon was brought up, but the pressure was not enough to drive the demonstrators back. As violence turned to standoff at the steps of the Foreign Ministry, a rebel MP arrived to try to negotiate with the police and calm the crowd. The deputy, Ilya Konstantinov, told the demonstrators that they were fighting for the heart of Russia. Stand firm, he said, and they would win. He was cheered with the old communist chant, all power to the Soviets. Only hours before, President Yeltsin had visited the White House barricades to try to boost the morale of the thousands of police who have been mounting the siege out in the open in the cold and rain. The president continued to insist that the White House defenders must surrender their weapons before substantive talks can take place. Tonight, there are reports that closed-door negotiations between the two sides may have made some progress. But the violent deadlock in central Moscow suggests that it may still be difficult to find a peaceful way out. Today was supposed to be a day of celebration of the history of Moscow, but instead it's turned into one of the most violent in recent memory. And right now it's difficult to see how Boris Yeltsin can quench the hatred that divides the two sides in the Russian capital. Julian Mannion, ITN, in Moscow.
Rescue workers, including troops, are still being hampered by heavy rain as they search for survivors from Thursday's earthquake in India. More than 30,000 people are now thought to have died in the disaster. 12,000 bodies have already been recovered.
Kilari village, close to the epicenter, all but obliterated by the earthquake. Bodies lie shrouded close to the ruins, awaiting cremation. But, against all apparent reason, they're still bringing people out of the ruins alive.
We've been digging here and found 4 to 5 people alive in rubble. We found a 1-day-old baby alive. His mother was dead.
But the Indian authorities have moved swiftly, army bulldozers ploughing through ruins whilst troops man mobile kitchens and provide a clean water supply. In one district alone, over 3,000 bodies have now been cremated, which is vital in the fight to prevent disease. But already a political row is brewing over the Maharashtra earthquake. Opposition politicians say these people endured over 100 warning tremors last year, which, they say, the government ignored. That, though, will be irrelevant in villages like this, where 3 generations of women in this family have lost their men. Alex Thompson, ITN, Maharashtra.
Here, the Home Secretary has condemned the bomb attack in North London, which injured 6 people, as cowardly and contemptible. Detectives say it was almost certainly the work of the IRA.
The streets were, as usual, crowded with people attracted by the clubs, late-night cafes and restaurants when the first of 3 bombs exploded. That no one was killed or seriously wounded seems a matter of good fortune. There had been a warning, but as so often, it was vague, misleading and totally inadequate. From the first telephone call to the first explosion, there was just 6 minutes.
We were sitting in the flat about 25 to 1 when we heard 3 loud explosions about 2 minutes apart. and we saw orange flashes coming from the Finchley Road.
6 people were taken to hospital with minor injuries and shock, but were not kept in.
The whole area was very busy. The streets were busy, as was the nightclub. It's Friday night. There were a lot of people around. It was a murderous attack.
Officers from the anti-terrorist branch supervised the collection of debris, which will be sifted by scientists seeking clues to the bomb's type and content. The Home Secretary condemned the attacks.
It was a contemptible and cowardly act, and we shall do everything we can to bring those who were responsible for it to justice.
It's difficult to see what success the bombers can claim from this incident. They've injured a number of people, they've closed a main road in and out of London, and they've cost many small businessmen the best part of a day's takings. A 4th bomb was disarmed later in a controlled explosion by bomb squad officers. Colin Baker, ITN, North London.
The Lord Chief Justice warned today against hasty changes to the legal system. It comes on the eve of the Conservative Party conference in Blackpool. The government's said to be planning tough new measures, including ending the right to silence and trial by jury in some cases.
As police prepare for this year's Tory conference in Blackpool, it's clear law and order will be a prime concern of the Conservative rank and file. Nearly 250 motions are down for discussion, many of them critical of the government.
I think there's a widespread feeling that the scales of justice in this country have been tilted much too far in favour of the defendant and away from those in society who are their victims or potential victims. And that is something that we need to remedy.
But lawyers meeting today are deeply concerned the government may be about to remove the right to silence of defendants and restrict access to jury trial.
Well, I've already made it clear that I would be opposed to an abolition of the right to jury trial in either way offences. I think that should not be done.
Some fear political pressure to do something may harm the system of justice.
This is what has happened time and time again. Changes in policy, 1 minute to empty the jails, another minute to fill the jails, in response to public mood or party conferences.
And given the level of grassroots anger, John Major's expected to devote a substantial proportion of his speech to the issue of law and order. The representatives will be asking, nonetheless, why he's only promising to get tough after the Tories have been in power for 14 years. Mark Webster, ITN, Westminster.
The Queen is said to be delighted with the £2.2 million raised from the opening of Buckingham Palace over the summer. Tourists queued for an average of an hour each day to get a glimpse behind the walls of the Queen's official London residence. The money, 25% more than expected, will go towards the restoration of fire damage at Windsor Castle. Now let's join David Bobin for the sport.
Well, Frank Bruno has been licking his wounds and considering his future after losing the Battle of Britain World Heavyweight title fight against Lennox Lewis in Cardiff. Lewis retained his WBC crown after unleashing a barrage of punches in the 7th round, and he now takes on America's Tommy Morrison, the WBO champion, in Las Vegas next March.
For the champion, a morning after news conference to publicise his next fight. In the Lewis camp, Bruno is now history, yet victory hadn't come easily.
Conduct yourself in the manner of champions.
Lewis was trying to win over a sceptical British audience, yet for 5 rounds it was Britain's favourite underdog who had his day. Bruno's only chance was to unsettle Lewis on a cold Cardiff night. It almost worked. But by round 7, he waded in once too often, his guard down. Lewis struck back. The fight was effectively over. It was only a matter of how much punishment the referee would allow Bruno to soak up. The answer was probably too much. A warning for holding and hitting was followed by another ferocious attack. Bruno almost went down, but by now the referee had seen enough. Frank had gone bravely, but his pride was intact.
So-called experts were saying that I would go 3 rounds, 2 rounds, get hit on the chin and go down. You know, I've done bloody well, mate. You know, as a British say, bloody well, old chap.
No talk yet of retirement, at least not from Frank Bruno.
I think he should retire gracefully. You know, I don't think the British public wants to see any more boxers hurt out there, and I think if he continues, he would be hurt badly.
But his place among Britain's sporting heroes is now assured. Peter Staunton, ITN, Cardiff.
Well, there was good news for the England manager Graham Taylor this afternoon, who watched Alan Shearer confirm his return to peak form. The Blackburn striker scored after only 15 minutes at Swindon. That's now 3 goals in 3 matches. At Hillsborough, Chris Bart-Williams put Sheffield Wednesday in front against the leaders Manchester United, but Mark Hughes equalised 3 minutes later and then put the champions in front with his second. A goal from Ryan Giggs made it 3-2 at the end. Leeds United midfielder Gary Speed was on target at Elland Road, his early goal against Wimbledon, continuing the Leeds revival, with Gary McAllister adding a second 15 minutes later. It ended 4-0. Chelsea's Dennis Wise was sent off in the London derby match at Upton Park. West Ham won 1-0. Andy Cole put Newcastle 2-0 up at Villa Park after a Malcolm Allen penalty just after half-time had rocked the home side. It ended 2-0. And Raul Fox put Norwich in front just before half-time against Coventry, only their second home league goal of the season. Well, in the First Division, second-place Crystal Palace scored 3 in the first half against Stoke. The former England star John Solarco got 2 and then completed his hat-trick in the second half. And fourth-place Tranmere also got off to a flying start at Southend, John Kenworthy giving them a 15-minute lead at Southend. More of that game on Meridian tomorrow. Well, in Scotland, not many goals in the top-of-the-table clashes. Leaders Aberdeen playing out a scoreless draw at Motherwell. On to rugby union now, and Leicester turned on the style against the Courage League High Flyers Wasp today. It was expected to be a close match, but Leicester massacred the London side, 38 points to 6. And now a check on today's main rugby union results. And in the Courage League, Bath 46, Gloucester 17, Bristol 22, Northampton 31, Leicester 38, Wasp 6, London Irish 19, Orrell 6, and Newcastle Gosforth 3, Harlequins 22. In Wales, the Heineken League, Aberavon 0, Neath 10, Cardiff 9, Llanelli 15, Newbridge 25, Cross Keys 6, Newport 11, Bridgend 24, and Swansea 30, Pontypool 10. On to Scotland, the McEwen Scottish League First Division, Curry 12, Hoyk 6, Heriots 35, Gala 20, Jed Forest 28, Kelso 3, Melrose 17, Stirling County 9, Selkirk 3, Stewart 3, Watsonians 21, Edinburgh Academicals 31, and West of Scotland 14, Boroughmuir 32. Well, the big race of the day was the £50,000 William Hill Cambridgeshire at Newmarket. The 7-to-1 favourite Penny Drops came through a packed field of 33 to win with some ease. Rawley Gilbert describes the closing stages.
And it's Penny Drops, the favourite has gone clear. Rambo's Hall is there again. He's in second, then Dawning Street, and after them come Beecham Hero over on the far side. That's Talent Racing alone, but it's Penny Drops on the near side who's going to win the Cambridgeshire. Penny Drops, the favourite. The punter's got it right. Penny Drops wins the Cambridgeshire with David Harrison.
So the full SP, first Penny Drops, the 7-to-1 favourite. Second, Talent at 33-to-1. Third was Rambo's Hall, 18-to-1. And fourth, Low Key at 16-to-1. There's been more success for Britain's women at the World Judo Championships in Canada. Diane Bell was knocked out in the light middleweight semi-finals, but she won a bronze medal in the repechage finals, and that follows the light heavyweight silver medal won yesterday by Kate Howie. Well, it's time now for the full football classified results, read for us, as always, by Bob Colston.
Beginning with the FA Carling Premiership. Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 2. Leeds 4, Wimbledon 0. Liverpool 0, Arsenal 0. Norwich 1, Coventry 0. Queen's Park Rangers 3, Ipswich 0. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Manchester United 3. Not on the pool, Southampton 3, Sheffield United 3. Swindon 1, Blackburn 3. And not on the pools, West Ham 1, Chelsea 0. Ensley League Division 1, Bristol City 2, Bolton 0. Crystal Palace 4, Stoke 1. Leicester against Notts County is a late result. Luton 5, Barnsley 0. Middlesbrough 2, Birmingham 2. Millwall 4, Watford 1. Not on the pools, Nottingham Forest 1, Portsmouth 1. Oxford 2, Grimsby 2. Southend 1, Tranmere 2. Sunderland 2, Peterborough 0. And Wolves 1, Charlton 1. Division 2, not on the pools, Barnet 1, Bristol Rovers 2. Bournemouth 1, Stockport 1. Brighton 0, Exeter 0. Burnley 2, Hartlepool 0. Cambridge United 1, Brentford 1. Fulham 2, Leyton Orient 3. Hull 3, Bradford 1. Plymouth 2, Huddersfield 0. Port Vale 3, Wrexham 0. Rotherham 0, Blackpool 2. And York 5, Cardiff 0. Division 3, Bury 2, Mansfield 2. Carlisle 1, Gillingham 2. Chesterfield 2, Wickham 3. Crewe 2, Lincoln 2. Doncaster 2, Rochdale 1. Northampton 1, Darlington 0. Preston 1, Colchester 0. Scunthorpe 1, Scarborough 1. Shrewsbury 3, Torquay 2. Walsall 3, Hereford 3. And Wigan 6, Chester 3. Northern Premier League, Premier Division. Colwyn Bay 1, Gainsborough 2. Droylsden 2, Matlock 4. Emley 2, Winsford 0. And Frickley 5, Horwich 2. Scottish League, Premier Division. Celtic 0, Kilmarnock 0. Dundee 2, Hearts 0. Hibernian 2, Dundee United 0. Motherwell 0, Aberdeen 0. Partick Thistle 4, St Johnstone 1. And Wraith 1, Rangers 1. Scottish Division 1, Airdrie 1, Ayr 1. Brecon 0, Falkirk 0. Clyde 3, Stirling 0. Clydebank 1, St Mirren 1. Dunfermline 4, Dumbarton 1. And Morton 1, Hamilton 2. Scottish Division 2, Alloa 1, Meadowbank 0. Arbroath 2, Cowdenbeath 2. East Fife 3, Forfar 2. East Stirling 1, Albion 4. And finally 3 matches not on the pools. Queen of the South 1, Montrose 0. Queen's Park 0, Stranraer 0. And Stenhousemuir 2, Berwick 1.
Thank you, Bob. Well, now let's have a look at how all those results have affected the tables tonight, starting, of course, with the FA Carling Premiership. And Manchester United increasing their lead now at the top of the table thanks to that win at Sheffield Wednesday by 3-2. Arsenal, of course, in second place, but only drawing 0-0 at Liverpool. We go to the bottom of the table. Southampton are still in trouble, deep in trouble. At one stage, 3-1 up, but held to a 3-3 draw by Sheffield United. Swindon losing again to Blackburn. They stay at the bottom of the Premiership. Moving on now to the Ensley League, the First Division, and Crystal Palace are joint top with Tranmere. Crystal Palace, of course, beating Stoke 4-1 this afternoon, and Tranmere winning at Southend. Good result for them, and they are joint leaders at the moment, ahead of Middlesbrough. At the foot of the table, Oxford slipped to bottom place after being held to a 2-2 draw at home by Grimsby, but wins for Sunderland and also for Peterborough and Luton put them further out of trouble. Oxford are the ones up against it at the moment. Moving on now to the Scottish League Premier Division, and Aberdeen, well, they're top. It's all rather different this season. Rangers, of course, down in 5th place, could only draw 1-1 this afternoon at Wraith. Aberdeen, the leaders, ahead of Hibernian and Motherwell. And finally, let's have a look at the pools news and see if there's any fortunes to be made today. Well, it looks as if there could be 7 jackpot 1-all draws, 6 high-score draws, and 5 no-score draws. 1 result still to come, but we'll give you the numbers of the jackpot 1-1 draws. They are matches 17, 18, 21, 35, 48, 49 and 52. That's 17, 18, 21, 35, 48, 49 and 52.
Thanks, David, and that's it. We'll have more at 8:35. For now, though, from David and me, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hello. There are a lot of showers around this evening. There'll still be 1 or 2 in evidence tomorrow, but on balance, tomorrow will be a better day than today for most of us. It may not seem that way first thing in the morning, because as the showers tend to die away tonight, they'll be replaced by mist and fog patches, so quite a grey and murky start to the day tomorrow for many of us. Still 1 or 2 showers around, but gradually the mist and the fog will lift and thin. Many of us will be dry and bright for a time. The northeast of Scotland missing out a little bit, with most of the showers dying away further south, dry and bright for a time, as I say, but then gradually thicker cloud coming into the west, outbreaks of rain in western parts later in the afternoon and through the evening. Temperatures tomorrow with a little bit of sunshine, many places making 13, perhaps up to around 14 at best, so a brighter day for most. Here's a summary.